Okay, we are going to make a start now. Good evening, members and all guests. Can we please welcome B. Manzini, poet, filmmaker, and spoken word artist, who will be performing for us for the next 10 minutes.
Thank you for that lovely introduction. It's a real pleasure and privilege to be here. Thank you to the Mayor for inviting me to come and share what is, I believe, a very special project that I've been working on for the last few months. So for those of you who don't know me, I am B. Manzini. I'm a poet based in Newham, and I'm 3 generations deep in terms of Newham. It's a place that I love. I've chosen to work, live, and stay here. And off the back of being a poet and being able to travel the world and go to many other places, I really understand that poetry and the arts is underserved in this borough, and I wanted to do something about it rather than complain. So I founded the Newham Poetry Prize last year, and we began a project this year called BASE, which is Bars and Stanzas Soundscapes. And we have gathered local people to experience what it is to write, what it is to experience working with poetry and rhythm and their voice and music. And we are going to be launching the result of that, which is an album, in the next few days. So today what I'm going to share with you is one of the poems that has been written as a result of that work, and it's one of them by me, and I was asked to be a resident poet for the day in Docklands, and I was riding the cable car for several hours and improvising work for the people that came into that space, and one of the things that came to me is this poem. So you were one of the first ever audiences to hear it because it's not out yet. And it's called Dangling Above the Docks, Heading to the Ground. The sky opens with a wave of colour, speaks to say, welcome to a brand new light-filled day. The sun stretches, mouthing the words, feel my rays as gentle fingertips across your skin. Through the glass, in this metallic body we now ride in, hanging by a single line, breathing with the wind, trusting in the elements, heading past towers, drawn to the patterns of birds, slowly letting go of the ground below. On board, this city reshaped by distance, by height, by the quiet courage of looking down. The docks, far below our feet now, shrinking, shimmering, sending beams of light upwards. One becomes a bent arm to hold. Another ripple reaches up, as if to steady this swaying room in the sky. Fly high, winged or otherwise, touch the sky. So our blues and sometimes our greys meet each other. We can see. Progressio cum populo, the people, always. Poetic expression inspired by a low mechanical hum. This vibration beneath our shoes, a rhythm trembling through cable and spine, being expired by the suspense of life, and solace in our existence. Air born, water beneath, nose pressed softly against curved glass, bursts of giddiness and wonder. Remember, we all need to breathe. Breathe in, breathe out, release to the ground. Like those before us, who dare to rise, and those yet to step inside this life. As we descend, the glass becomes a mirror. Each of us original in physical expression, in lived experience, in thinking, yet linked together by this clear capsule in the sky. Get ready as the cabin shifts and the cable hums, the gentle drop to solid ground. We are Newham, our borough, our town, London here. Say it sweet. We are still building. We are still rising. We are still becoming. Thank you.
Can I give a big thank you for entertaining us tonight and for those beautiful words? Thank you. I would like to welcome the Mayor, all members and guests to the Old Town Hall, Stratford, for our ordinary meeting of Council. I would like to welcome the members of the public and press who are physically attending or watching on YouTube. The meeting is being filmed for broadcast. Please note that cameras are focused on everyone within the meeting. I would also like to take this opportunity to remind the public that to enable the Council to conduct its business, if there are interruptions at today's meeting, I will ask the individual or individuals to stop and give a warning. If this continues, I will give a second and final warning, and should the disruption continue, I will ask security to remove the person or group from the Council chamber and will adjourn the meeting. Members of Council, please can I ask that you indicate when you wish to speak by raising your physical hand. I would like to advise members that in order to comply with the allocated time for speakers, if you go beyond your allocated time, you will be automatically muted. Please can I ask members and officers to introduce themselves when they are speaking. I would also like to ask everyone to turn their mobile phones to silent mode. The member attendance book will be circulated to you during the meeting, so please ensure you sign it. We are not expecting a fire drill this evening, so if the alarm sounds, please remain calm and follow the instructions of the Town Hall staff. The fire assembly point is accessed via the West Ham Lane. Members, please note, I have also accepted an additional report on grounds of urgency. This report, Attendance at Meetings, Authority to Exempt, is item agenda 15A on the supplementary agenda 2. Will members also please note that there is a post-council reception being held in the Wilthorne room. This is for elected members and the CLB. I'm now going to be moving to item 1, which is apologies for absence. I've received apologies for absence for this evening's meeting from Councillors Dina Hussain, Stephanie Garfield, and Susan Masters. Are there any other apologies for absence from councillors to be recorded? Councillor Kamali.
Got Councillor Lakmini Shah, and the next person is a Labour member, but I received an apology from Noor Begum.
Okay. Thank you. That's noted. Any other apologies? Yes, Musawar? Councillor Salim Patel? Any other? No? Okay. I'm now moving to item 2, declarations of interest. Are there any members wishing to declare any disclosable pecuniary interest or any other interest that they may have in any matter which is to be considered at this meeting? Nope. I'm now moving to item 3, minutes of the last meeting. I move the minutes of the budget meeting of the Council held on 26 February 2026. Do I have a seconder, please? Thank you. That's Councillor Virti. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Anyone against? Any abstentions? The minutes are agreed. I'm now moving to item 4, deputations. There have been no requests for deputations to this meeting of Council. I'm going to now move to item 5, petitions. I have been told that there are 2 petitions. I would like to first call Councillor Melanie Onovo from residents of Albert Square, Stratford, to present her petition.
I just have a quick few words to say on this. Residents in Albert Square have been understandably dissatisfied with some concerning levels of antisocial behaviour that they've experienced in recent years. Windows smashed, cars broken into, threats. They had reached out to the council but had received what was an insufficient response about patrols, but nothing about what is actively being done about reports that have been made. So I present this petition to council for Corporate Director Rebecca Johnson. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Onovo. I would now like to call on Councillor Sabia Kamali, who will be presenting a petition from the Newham Palestine Solidarity Campaign.
Sorry.
Okay.
Councillor Sabia Kamali, Stratford Ward. I've received just under 1,200 signed petition on disclosure of diverse petition to Newham Council from Newham residents. So basically they are asking for a commitment and just to for the pension schemes from companies that are complicit of people of Palestine. So
Thank you very much, Councillor Kamali. If you want to bring your petitions. Thank you. Are there any other petitions? Yeah, Councillor McLean.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Charlotte McLean, Cabinet Member for Resident Engagement and Resident Experience. I have a petition here that was presented to me prior to a Cabinet meeting, and I did promise the petitioners that I would present it to full council. It's from the Save the Newham Libraries campaign, and the petition is to stop any cuts to library services, to ensure no library closures and to protect all staff jobs. And I'm pleased to announce that there are no cuts to library services. There's no library closures and all staff jobs are protected currently. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor McLean. Yes, Councillor Liz Cronin.
Thank you, Chair. I'm Councillor Liz Cronin, Councillor for Forest Gate North. I've submitted via email a petition from the residents of Field Road requesting a review into their parking arrangements. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Cronin. I'm going to now, are there any other petitions? No. Okay. I'm going to now move to item 6, which is questions by the public. There are 8 questions from a member of the public that has been accepted under Rule 11 of Part 4 of the Constitution. The questions and their answers are published in Supplementary Pack 2. I'm going to call upon the member of public to read out their question, and then I'm going to call upon the elected member to answer that question. We have got a total 20 minutes set aside for this agenda item. Mahdi Hassan, are you here? For question 1, Mahdi Hassan. It's a question to Councillor Verdi.
No, Chair.
No? Okay, I'm going to move on. Fokhrul Ahmed. Are you here? No? Okay. Question 3, the questioner wishes to remain anonymous, so we're going to leave that. It's as tabled. Question 4 is Yunus Ali. Are you here? No? Okay. Question 5 is from Miriam Scarf. Yes, Miriam. Could you read out your question, Miriam? Thank you.
Good evening. This council passed a motion, October 2025, calling on the Pensions Committee to, quote, ensure that it follows the highest standards possible, unquote, as regards to, quote, human rights in conflict areas, unquote, emphasising that this, quote, includes Gaza, unquote. The Pensions Committee promised to release this investigation to the public, which would, quote, ensure unquote, that Newham Pension Fund complies with UK and international humanitarian law. Newham Pension Fund holdings are included in the over 7 billion of known complicit funds held across all London LGPS funds, as reported in the London Civ as of March 31st, 2024. Our question is from Newham Votes Palestine, when and where will the Council's investigation be available to help residents decide how to vote in the coming election?
Thank you so much, Miriam. And I call upon Councillor Ali. No, John. Councillor Gray.
Could I just say one thing? I heard earlier that you had the answer, a written answer, in a supplementary pack. But we haven't been able to find that. Should we be able to find that?
I think Councillor Gray will respond to you.
Oh, I thought you had a written answer in the pack. That's what I was asking. Someone said there were answers, written answers in the...
Okay.
No?
Okay, I don't think so, Miriam. But
Okay,
I think Councillor
thank you.
Gray will respond.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Councillor Gray?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Councillor John Gray, West Ham Ward, Chair of the Pension Committee. Just to clarify that pensions are really, really important. There's over 30,000 Newham pensioners. There are around 800,000 Londoners depend on the local government pension scheme for their pension futures, including, I suspect, all the staff from Newham Council currently here tonight assisting the process. Quite rightly, we passed a motion unanimously. Every single council present, including the opposition parties, to bring a motion. It wasn't about an investigation. To be clear, it is actually to procure, to get a specialist governance unit to make sure that our pensions are ethical, include investments in conflict areas such as Gaza or even Iran now or other countries of the world. This is taking time because this is public money being spent, and we are trying to get this over the edge as soon as possible because we want this reassurance, not investigation, and there are things we can do to not only protect pensioners, protect pensions, some of the most vulnerable members of our workforce, but also to do good in the world and to get our ethical policy out there. I hope that is helpful, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Gray. Also, Miriam, I've just been told that it will be published in the next 15 minutes. Yes. Okay. Can I now call on Ren Tilbury? Are you here? Yes. Could you go and ask your question?
Good evening, Ren Tilbury. In 24/25, CQC tells us that our adult social care spend exceeded budget by over £25 million for a spend of over £140 million. This year, in the 26-27 budget, with £11 million of savings and a growing need in Newham for these exact same services, £140 million has been set aside. I would like to ask, why does Council believe that this money is enough to satisfy the needs of our residents without cutting their quality of life and cutting the essential services that they rely on? Thank you.
Thank you. And I will call on Councillor Chadha to respond to this one.
Thank you for the question. And I can understand why you're asking it. In response, and this answer is now published as well, the figures referenced in the CQC report are not recognised as an accurate reflection of the financial position for adults and health. The Council's 2024-25 outturn, reported to Cabinet on 22nd of July 2025, confirmed a 10.3 million variance against the adults and health budget for that financial year. The final budget report, approved by full Council on 26th of February 2026, last month, sets out a detail both the growth pressures and the savings built into the adults and health budget. The Adults and Health medium-term financial strategy is focused on 4 key areas, and I think this speaks to your points about how we're meeting increased demand. Promoting independence, embedding a strengths-based approach to care and support, short-term prevention and technology, enabling residents to live independently and avoid reliance on long-term services. In Newham Living, expanding cost-effective in-borough accommodation, grant maximisation of resources, ensuring that the services deploys its resources efficiently and sustainably. In summary, the Council's confidence in the financial position for 2026-27 is grounded in a shift from reactive expenditure to planned evidence-led transformation. The budget reflects a deliberate move away from crisis-driven overspend towards a sustainable model of adult social care, one that protects the borough's most vulnerable residents while operating realistically within the Council's restraints. And I'll be talking further about that in my Cabinet update. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Chadha. Can I call on Zainab Kamal to ask your question?
Thank you for having me, Council members. I'm here as an ethnically cleansed Palestinian resident of Newham. I now ask this Council to act with conscience. We ask Newham Council to make a commitment to uphold international law, ensure any investments in the LGPS pension fund it administers are ethical. Research has found that LGPS funds across Britain invest 12.2 billion in companies enabling Israel's grave violations of international law. This includes companies providing Israel with weapons to kill and maim Palestinians, and companies active in Israel's illegal settlements, enabling the erasure of my people. If Newham Council's pension fund is found to be investing in companies involved in the above, we ask whether Newham Council will make a firm commitment to start the process of divestment. So, Newham residents and scheme members, many of which have signed a petition in relation to the above, do not have their hard-earned money misused. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Zainab. Can I ask, is it Councillor Ali or is it Councillor Gray? Councillor Gray? Or is it Councillor Ali who is responding to this? I think it's Councillor Gray. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Chair, and thank you for this question being put. It was a really important issue. I think I've addressed most of the points in my previous response to the previous question. I'd just like to sort of reiterate again, we have been given absolute assurance by our investment advisors that we do not, repeat, do not invest in companies that supply arms to Israel. We do not. But what we want to make sure is not only that by employing an independent governance expert to double check on what our fund managers are actually doing, but also we want to change the way things happen. We want to make sure that we're not an ethical investment fund, but that doesn't mean we're not interested in ethics. The Newham Pension Fund believes actually that it is better for our pensioners if we invest in companies that don't employ child labour, don't destroy the environment, don't invest in companies that produce weapons of mass destruction, not because we're ethical, because in the long run, that will make superior investment returns for the pension fund, because we're investing in companies that will look after its workforce, and it will, this will produce superior investment returns, not just divestments or not just partial. We want to engage, and I will give a commitment. I believe in divestment as a last resort when we have done all we can to change that company. But if that company does not change, does not accord to our values, then we should divest. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Gray. Can I now call on Fajia Iqbal Are you here? Is Sajid Iqbal here? No? Oh, yes, okay. Yes, go on, Sajid. Can you read out your question, Sajid?
Good evening. As a member of the local government pension scheme, I am deeply concerned about how my pension contributions are being invested. As a pension holder, I consider my contributions to be deferred wages for my retirement, which I will be heavily dependent on. Please reassure me that they are not being used in ways that contribute to grave breaches of international law and human rights. Please reassure me that my pension contributions are used ethically. Will Newham Council make a commitment to pension holders that they will ensure my pension fund is not invested in or exposed to companies that are unethical? Are our pension implicit in war crimes, apartheid, or acts that credible international bodies and human rights experts have described as a genocide? Divestment would not just be a financial decision, it would be a moral one. It would help our Palestinian community feel truly at home in Newham. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sajia. Is it here again? Yes. Councillor Cray. Sorry, you can't. The point. Sorry. The point of order is only by members. It can't be from members of the public. Councillor Gray.
Yeah, thank you, Chair, and Councillor Gray, West Ham Chair of the Pension Committee again, and I thank the questioner. Like her, I'm a member of the local government pension scheme. I've got 34 years of pensionable service in the local government pension scheme. The local government pension scheme is my entire pension future for myself, for my family. So it's really, really important. And as I tried to explain beforehand, it's actually in the interest of the pension fund that it invests in a ethical, approachable way. As I said, we aren't an ethical fund, but we believe it's good for society, it's good for Newham, it's good for the pensioners. If we do take, and what we'll do now is get expert advice to make sure that our funds are running in accordance to our ethical or ESG policy, and it's the appropriate response. But look, it is difficult. Everybody here, I suspect, has got a mobile phone. Everybody here has got a Microsoft laptop or a Microsoft email or a Google email. I'm constantly called for divestment from, for example, Google by people emailing me on Google Mail. There's a problem. I'm not going to be sort of sarcastic about it, but there is a problem that some people say we should invest from any company has any dealings with Israel or America, full stop. And that is a problem, because is the council going to stop assessing benefit payments on computers using Microsoft software? Are we going to stop using our phones? Are we going to stop using our cars? No, so there is a problem that we can do what we should be doing, but we've got to take expert advice, because this is people's pensions futures. But I feel confident that we can satisfy the concerns about what the dreadful, horrible things that are happening in conflict areas all over the world, and we can still pay our pensioners' pensions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Gray. I just also want to let all members of public know that the answers have now been published on the website, so you will be able to see it. I'm going to now move, so that concludes item 6, and I will move on to item 7, which is announcements by the Chair. In terms of public engagements, I just wanted to mention Newham's 2026 COVID-19 Day of Reflection event, which took place at the COVID-19 Memorial Garden in Plaistow Park. International Women's Day, this year's theme was Give to Gain, which shone a light on the power of generosity, collaboration, and shared support. I also want to send our best wishes to members of the community who this month or next have and will be celebrating and observing their holy days, especially for Eid and Easter. I also want to take this opportunity to wish happy birthday to Councillor Rohima Rahman, whose birthday it is today. Can we all do a little thank you? Council, this being my last meeting as chair, I did want to say a few other words. Because as we come to the close of this municipal year, I wanted to take a moment to reflect on not just what we have done, but who we have been together, serving as the chair of this council and first citizen. It has been a great joy for me, because it is a role that carries ceremony, but more importantly, it carries responsibility. To uphold those democratic values and ensure fairness in this chamber, and to represent this borough with dignity, integrity, and care. Over the past year, I've had the privilege of meeting residents from every corner of our community, young people full of ambition, families who are building their futures, elders whose stories carry the weight of history, and that is what defines Newham Borough. I have worked to make this role visible and accessible, and to be present in our communities, to celebrate their achievements and represent us in London-wide events. This council, across all parties over here, have shown that even in disagreement, we can and should strive towards a shared goal, improving the lives of those who we serve. Unity does not mean uniformity, because we are not uniform in this chamber. But it means recognizing that despite our differences, we are bound by a common responsibility. Keir Hardie reminded us that if the isolated ego of self gets the upper hand for a time, he produces results so terrifying that the mistake of allowing him to rule is speedily made apparent. That warning feels especially relevant today when ego, division, and self-interest take precedence. And we are seeing the consequences of that all around us with increasing hostility. And yet, we must also be honest about the times that we are living in. We are seeing increasing division, increasing hostility, and at times, a normalization of hate. So let me be clear, hate has no place in this borough, no place in our politics, and no place in our society. It is our duty, not just as councillors, but also as Newham residents, to stand up, to challenge it, and to build something else in its place. As Audre Lorde very powerfully said, it is not our differences that divide us, it is our inability to recognize, accept, and celebrate those differences. And that is a reminder of the unity, not about erasing that difference, but holding it together. In the coming weeks, I know that many of you will stand for election, and I want to take this moment to wish each of you the very best. Elections are the lifeblood of our democracy over here in Newham. They're an opportunity for residents holding us accountable. And remember that whatever the outcome, we are all here for the same reason, which is to serve the people of this borough. And so as this year comes to an end, and my tenure as the chair for this year, I do so with gratitude to all the council officers for their tireless work behind the scenes, to fellow councillors for your dedication, to Mayor Roxana Fiaz for her leadership, and to the people of this borough for placing their trust. And I will end with a thought from Maya Angelou, who says, "Do the best you can until you know better, then when you know better, do better." Thank you very much. I will now move to item 8, which is announcements by the mayor. I invite Mayor Roxana Fiaz to address the council to make any announcements. I understand there is a video first. Is there a video first? Okay, all right, okay. So you have up to 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
Councillors, it really has been a privilege. It's been my greatest honour, and I know that throughout these 8 years it's required both dedication, passion, a diligence, fortitude, resilience, and more importantly, a commitment to justice and a practical delivery of one's personal ethics. Back in 2018, we set out with people at the heart of everything we do. And in 2022, we built on that with a radical, necessary vision, building a fairer Newham. At that time, and still now, we didn't just want growth, we wanted growth that reached every doorstep. We didn't just want change, we wanted justice. And looking back over these 8 years, we've achieved so much together. At the heart of our Labour Council has been 3 core goals: putting people at the heart of everything that we do, responding to the crisis of COVID-19, and building what I trust will be a permanent foundation of fairness. Nowhere is that fairness more evident than in our children's services. We inherited a service that had languished and requires improvement for years. Through relentless focus and leadership, including the leadership of my Cabinet colleague, Councillor Sarah Rose, we turned it around to achieve an outstanding rating from Ofsted in every single area. A feat only a handful of London boroughs have accomplished, and that is 6 presently. We've invested in the next generation because they are our greatest asset. 97% of our schools are now rated good or outstanding. Our primary pupils are outperforming the national average by nearly 20 points in reading, writing and maths. We've sustained the Eat for Free scheme, the UK's longest running universal primary meals programme, saving families £400 each year per child. And through our Youth Empowerment Fund, we've broken down barriers for over 300 young people, ensuring their postcode does not define their potential through our nationally recognised youth empowerment services. We've tackled the housing crisis head-on. We are now the 4th biggest council in the entire country for new home starts. Since 2018, we've started or completed thousands of council homes on land that we own. Even in these final weeks, we haven't slowed down. We recently broke ground last week in Ferndale Park over in Beckton for 211 homes and marked on Friday the completion of another 81 at the Greenhill Centre in Manor Park, a place, I should say, I did my work experience when I was at Plashett School. And it comes with it 9 homes for families that has a disabled family member and new gym facilities for our local community. We're driving up standards in the private sector through our borough-wide licensing scheme, ensuring every resident has a home that is safe, warm and secure. And we're doing that also in our own homes that the council runs and is delivering in response to the Housing Regulator report. But our home is more than 4 walls, it's a neighbourhood around it. We've cut fly tipping by 70% in hotspots and committed £51 million to making our streets safer. I'm particularly proud to announce a major parting victory for our community. We've secured £20 million for the Little Ilford ward through the government's Pride in Place programme. This is a massive investment that will transform the local environment in Little Ilford, proving that even as I prepare to hand over the baton, my administration never stops fighting for every corner of this borough. We've also ensured Newham is no longer a bystander to London's success. We're leading it. We're becoming the heartbeat of the digital economy. 1.2 billion in inward investment for digital infrastructure. We've trained over 2,500 residents in AI and digital skills, including 742 young women in our secondary schools. Our data corridor, stretching from Canning Town to the Royal Docks, is set to create thousands of high-quality jobs. We're a London living wage employer, ensuring 1,900 care staff, predominantly women, and all direct employees are paid fairly. and we promote the London living wage amongst employers in the borough. Through our Newham service, we've supported over 32,000 residents with financial security and employment, because a fairer Newham means a Newham where everyone can thrive. We leave behind a fully balanced and sustainable budget for 2026-27, while keeping our council tax amongst the lowest in London. So we've proven that you can be compassionate and fiscally responsible at the same time. So as I stand here tonight, my heart is full. Gracious achievements, however, can be a building or a statistic. But for me, it's the knowledge that we put our people first and foremost always. Newham's potential is enormous. The progress of the last 8 years has built a solid, unbreakable foundation for the future. To the residents, the young, the elderly, and the vast array of our valued community organisations, the businesses, members of the council, and the tireless, dedicated council staff team, thank you for walking this path of building a fairer Newham with me. It's truly been a privilege of this chapter of my adventurous lifetime. Thank you, Newham.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you very much, Mayor. Before we move to item 9, as this is your last meeting of full council as the directly elected mayor, I would like to invite to the stage 2 young people. Inaya Riaz from the Youth Panel and Youth Citizen Assembly, and Manav Mehta, who is the winner of the Youth Excellence Award at this year's LBN Civic Awards, who would like to present you with something.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I now move to item 9, any updates from cabinet members. Any member of the cabinet who wishes to update the council will be allowed to speak. There shall be no debate or questions allowed. Does any member of the cabinet wish to speak? You will be allowed up to 3 minutes. Councillor, oh wow, okay. Councillor Ali, we will start with you. We will go as I can see. Your
Chair, Mayor, colleagues, those listening at home, good evening to you. As Statutory Deputy Mayor and Cabinet for Finance and Resources, I want to celebrate what our Labour administration has achieved in this borough and how, through my finance and resources portfolio, we have delivered real, tangible benefits for our residents. And that is what building a fairer Newham looks like in practice, Chair. Despite decades of Tory austerities and cuts, we have delivered a balanced budget throughout the last 4 years of this administration. We have protected frontline services. We've been investing in future, in our homes. Even in the toughest financial climate, we have made sure the families, children, and older residents have the support they need. Chair, this is responsible governance, but it is also fairer in action. I am pleased to say, Chair, that we have, despite increasing number of authorities going into exceptional financial support, Newham has exited much earlier than perhaps anticipated. We had achieved the capital receipts in order to make sure the last year's balanced budget. The current year's budget, as you saw, for the next 26-27 budget is balanced. We have 30 million surplus in 27-28, 15 million surplus in 28-2019, and we have a medium-term financial strategy, first time ever, that is going to extend to 5 years. Chair, we have also managed to maintain the council tax at 4.99%. And can I remind everybody who goes around telling people the council tax is rising, we are the lowest in outer London, Chair. And we are the 6th lowest across the whole of London, which is 32 boroughs. So please, before you start complaining, Newham has the highest council tax, please, let's just look at the figures. Let us be honest. We're investing 2.4 million in rollout of the food waste collection service. Chair, we are investing in families, into special need education. Exceptional financial support is no longer for this borough. And we're investing 1.2 million in children's services, 800,000 in grassroots community grants. £750,000 has been allocated now for Muslim burial, which is a long-term moral need that this borough needed to provide in order to make sure the people who contributed to the services in this borough are given a dignified burial. Newham does not manage money, but it manages the responsibility, Chair. Can I also, Chair, say, can I ask colleagues to raise their hands for our Mayor? It is through her leadership over the last 8 years, in fact, that we have delivered very passionately the services that she dreamt about, she had vision, and I think it's that contribution that has made a real difference to Newham. And I'm sure there's a lot of challenges ahead, but we will make sure that we'll fight them collectively and we'll fight them well. Thank you once again, Chair. I'm going to spare my 5 seconds. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Ali. I've now got Councillor Rita Chadha. Given that Rita's got 2 portfolios in consultation with the monitoring officer, we've agreed to give her an extra minute, so that's 4 minutes.
No challenge there then. Just 1 minute. I'd like to start off with transformation. Colleagues, when I first took on the portfolio of transformation, everybody was just talking to me about the council's IT services. Transformation is much more than that. Transformation is what's helped this council turn around its finances. It's what will help the council going forward as well. I'd like everybody in the room to remember that transformation is not just about digital, it's about improving our services for our residents, and that has to remain at the heart of it. Through this year, we have met our savings target. We almost met our savings target. We've improved services for adults and children by bringing in some extra technology that actually allows us to remain person-focused in an interview. Makes a huge difference. It improves not only our own efficiency, but the experience of residents as well. We've reviewed our back office structures, and that's an ongoing piece of work and important nonetheless. Over the next 3 years, the transformation team collectively will, across the council, provide over £26 million worth of savings. I think it's important to remember that when I took this portfolio on very late in my council career, in June last year, it was very much the case that actually transformation was just doing a slim piece of work. I'm grateful to colleagues across the council and especially to CLB who have allowed the transformation team and welcomed them with open arms into other directorates as well. What I want to say about transformation is that none of this would be possible without the enthusiasm, and I do mean enthusiasm. If anyone has heard Ravi Dansa speak, you'll know that she can actually be such an enthusiastic champion for a transformation, and she's actually held this piece on our behalf. She's not here this evening, but I'm sure colleagues will remind her. But it's not just Ravi, it's Sajal, it's everybody in the transformation team, and more recently led by Maria Christofi as well. So thank you to the whole transformation team. Okay, on time. And now to health and adult social care. So across this administration, the adult and health social care team has been pivotal to helping our residents. And we see residents sometimes at their most vulnerable, sometimes at their most lowest. And actually it takes real skill and professional expertise to actually help people in that situation. Over the years, we have, through this administration, developed 50 steps. A strategy for how we look at health prevention, of how we actually benefit collectively everyone's learning. There is nothing more important than the health of our residents. We've invested heavily in ageing well services, services that allow people that when they're frail, they can actually stay at home for longer, they can actually pick up on some of the services that the community around them can support them with. It would be remiss of me not to say that actually we've had the CQC assessment, and what I will say is in the couple of months that Fiona Connolly has been here, we have seen a marked journey to improvement. And yes, we could have done better, we can always do better, but I am confident that next time the CQC comes around, Newham will not only be good, but possibly even outstanding. I don't want to tempt fate there. The last thing I just want to end on as well is around our work around leisure centres. When I first came into post, I always saw our leisure officer as something to the periphery. It isn't. Our leisure offer is something that residents can be really proud of. Our leisure centres provide not only value for money, but they also provide an opportunity for people to enhance their lives, and for that we should be grateful. I'm thankful to everybody in the Adult Social Health and Care Directorate for all the work they've done. But there's one person that I think we all know is missing tonight, which is Councillor Neil Wilson. Because without all of his efforts and without his input, his determination and his pedanticness, a lot of what has been achieved over the last years wouldn't have happened. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Councillor Chadha. Councillor McLean. What's happening? Oh, okay. Councillor McLean, you will have 3 minutes.
Oh, not 4? Okay, not sorry. Thank you, Chair. It's truly been an honour to have served as a councillor, to have been a cabinet member for the past 8 years and deputy mayor for 4 of those. I am proud of my achievements and those of this administration under the leadership of our Mayor, Roxana Fiaz. I believe that Newham is a fairer place where our diverse communities are valued and can embrace who they are. Just this Friday, we had prayers for Eid in our parks. 10 of our parks were filled with people. It was a lovely sunny day and it was really beautiful, and that is what this administration is all about. If I may, Chair, as this is my last council meeting, although I have served 4 terms as a councillor, I've actually stood in 5 elections. In 2014, I gave birth to my beautiful daughter Esme, who was born 10 weeks prematurely, weighing £1.4. After a frightful pregnancy with weekly scans where I didn't know if she would still be alive or not, I sat by her incubator and then tenderly cared for her when she came home 12 weeks later. And attending meetings was the last thing on my mind. Unfortunately, due to being incorrectly advised by officers that I was entitled to maternity leave, which as an elected representative I am not, I fell foul of the 6-month rule. The job of a whip is not just to ensure discipline, but to support all members of your group and to provide pastoral care. Now, I could have been informed that I was nearing the 6-month mark and assisted to attend a meeting as others were, but no, I was left to be kicked off. But of course, as a strong black woman of Newham stock, I wasn't going to go down without a fight. People were rightly horrified that something like that could be allowed to happen, and thankfully, all have learned from this saga, and things are different for those who may find themselves in a similar predicament today. In 2015, I campaigned with my tiny little baby in her white pram to fight for my seat, not because I had to, but because it was essential to right an injustice. Unsurprisingly, I topped the poll with 4,607 votes, which remains the highest vote for any councillor in the history of Newham, and East Ham and West Ham before that. Chair, finally, I wish colleagues in the next council all the best, and I'll be watching the forthcoming election from the sidelines with popcorn. It is an immense privilege to serve the people of Newham. If I can give those elected members one bit of advice, it's to look after your bread and butter, the electorate who put you where you are. It's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor McLean. Councillor Sarah Ruiz. Can I just get an indication that the next 3 of you will also speak? Okay. Councillor Ruiz, can you just put the mic? No, not yet. They're coming, don't worry. Yeah, they are helping you. Not really, no. Don't worry, we are not going to time you until it's all on. Try now.
Is that okay? That's
Perfect.
better.
Your 3 minutes start now.
Thank you. Over the past 4 years, I have held various roles: children's services, education, environment, highway, sustainable transport, and statutory deputy mayor, not all at once, although it felt like it at times. What I'm going to say next, the mayor has already said, but as always, I'm just going to repeat it because it's worth saying twice. Obviously, for me, the most important achievement was the move from inadequate to outstanding for children's services. Yes. If you clap a bit longer, I won't have to say very much more. But only because it has been actually all-consuming. I need to also say that our schools have excelled. All of our schools are good and outstanding. Not bad for a borough that used to see parents moving out to get a better education. But these are not just our achievements. They are built on the dedication of all the staff across Newham who work tirelessly to give our children the best start in life. I am stepping down, as you know. It has been an absolute privilege to serve in this administration, and I thank Roxana for that opportunity. But I also thank you, my colleagues, for your support, encouragement, and the many, many laughs. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Virdi? No, you don't get to decide. You go next. Okay, you have 3 minutes as well.
Thank you. Councillor Maverdi, Councillor for Green Street West. I am pleased to share the progress we have made through our Safer Newham programme and our wider community safety initiative under this new Labour administration. On Tuesday, 16th March, the Mayor and the Cabinet approved proposals for a £2 million capital investment to modernise and safeguard and future-proof Newham CCTV network. This programme will replace outdated equipment, expand coverage in priority locations, with further 20 new cameras being installed in key fundamental areas like East Village, our high streets, and other footprint areas. It will also support closer alignment with our housing services and estate teams, improving coverage across our estates. By enhancing this approach, we will be prioritising the safety of our women and girls and supporting young people to feel secure in their communities, ensuring that all our residents can enjoy Newham's public spaces and strengthen our partnership work with the Metropolitan Police and other agencies. This programme, under the Labour Government's Safer Streets missions, will emphasise a visible action to protect our communities and restore confidence in neighbourhood safety. With Cabinet approval secured, the Council will move to implementation and signals the commitment to ensuring Newham remains a place where businesses, residents and visitors feel safe, confident and able to thrive. Alongside this, the Cabinet also introduced the introduction of 3 new public space protection orders focused on street harassment, misuse of car parks and misuse of fireworks. We had over 240 responses of public engagement and this commitment to show that these public space protection orders are a useful tool to support our neighbourhoods. As a leader of place, this Labour Council will continue to take decisive action to make our town centres, streets and spaces safe and welcoming for everyone. I want to also acknowledge the vital contributions of our councillors, partners, MPs, assembly members and community groups whose ongoing work and commitment are essential to keeping Newham safe. I also want to thank Sean McDermott, the Director for Community Safety, for his steady stewardship and all the many unsung heroes across our community safety teams, including Prevent, Trading Standards, Licence and Regulation, Enforcement, our Licensing Committee, our Resilience colleagues and those who work tirelessly behind the scenes, including our enforcement officers. I just want to mention the role that I also play within housing needs and all the stellar work that Councillor Mohammed has given to me in terms of leading in my role. I also want to talk about the prevention work that this council has done to ensure that we provide the best opportunity to show our residents that they have the right to stable accommodation and also the Renters' Right Act that was passed by the Labour government. I want to finally thank the Mayor for her leadership and unwavering dedication to the safety of our well-being of our residents, including our women and residents, who she has championed and led by example to give them the best opportunity to thrive in Newham. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Virdi. Councillor Whitworth?
Thank you, Chair. Councillor John Whitworth, Cabinet Member for Air Quality, Climate Emergency and Environment. And I'd like to give you an update of some of the highlights related to my portfolio over the last month. On the 3rd of March, I and the Mayor, Deputy Mayor of London, Mehdi Koban, and several other Newham councillors attended the opening of a circular construction hub in Charles Road at Silvertown. This is a major project, the first of its kind in the UK, and a great step forward in the circular economy. This was enabled by Newham Council, a complicated arrangement with the GLA and Land Lease, and involved a group of people who are running it called Tipping Point East. And this hub will now be available for developers to take their construction waste to it, and for people, residents and people nearby to be able to come and collect the items that have been left by the developers. The people who run it, Tipping Point East, will be sorting and stocking it, but more, they've got a social ethos and an educational vocation, because they wish to establish networks with local community organisations and also run educational courses for green skills. On the 17th of March, the meeting of Cabinet, which Councillor Virdi has already referred to, the Cabinet passed the Air Quality Action Plan 2025 to 2030. This plan builds on the success of the previous Air Quality Action Plan, with its strong focus on monitoring cleaner transport and educational programmes in schools, and provides an additional focus of engagement with local businesses, voluntary community and faith groups, and residents. A programme of action in the community has been set out in this plan, and it will be carried out progressively during the duration of the plan according to the available funding. On the 13th of March, I attended the opening of an allotment garden with Councillor Miraj Patel, and I will allow him to talk about this because he played a major role in bringing this project to fruition. Not yet taken place, but later in this week, in fact tomorrow, again with Councillor Patel, I plan to visit Forest Lane Park.
Councillor Whitworth, I'm going to have to stop you now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. I unfortunately, yes, Councillor Young, please go. But just, I know you mentioned Councillor Miraj Patel, but he cannot speak because deputies are not part of the cabinet updates. So I think we will have to miss that, unfortunately. Councillor Young, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. Mayor, colleagues, this may well be my last cabinet update to this council, and I want to use it to speak plainly. I made a promise when I took on this role that we would face the social housing regulator's C4 verdict honestly. We wouldn't hide from it, minimise it, or manage it. We would fix it. We visited over 8,000 homes, speaking to our tenants, understanding their needs. We've identified vulnerable residents who needed support and connected them to services they didn't know were available. That is a council working as it should. We've driven electrical safety compliance from just 60% at inspection to over 97% today, and we've cut overdue fire risk actions by half. In every single compliance area, we are now within 3% of full compliance. Fire and building safety is a firm priority, properly resourced and properly delivered. Through the Resident Challenge Board, resident scrutinisers and holders to account. Real influence over a programme that affects real lives. We prepared for AWAB's law before it arrived, not scrambling to catch up, but ready. Over 1,200 damp and mould inspections, a specialist team, new systems, a genuine commitment to tackling the conditions that should never have been allowed to exist in the first place. And now, we are entering into a voluntary undertaking with the regulator, a formal, binding, legal commitment to see this through. Not because we are forced to, but because we choose to be accountable. Colleagues, I say all of this not to congratulate ourselves, but because it matters enormously what happens next. This work is not finished. The Housing Improvement Programme runs to 2029. Whoever sits in these seats, whatever political complexion the next administration takes, I say to you directly, do not let this slip. These are people's homes, the foundations upon which children do their homework, families sleep safely, elderly residents live with dignity. Every fire door replaced, every damp wall treated, every safety certificate issued. These are the promises we need to keep to Newham's residents. I urge the new administration to honour that work, resource it, and hold themselves to the same standard of accountability we set when we faced that C4 verdict and refused to look away. Newham's tenants and leaseholders deserve nothing less. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Young. I now move to item 10, announcements by the Interim Chief Executive. I understand there will be no announcements from the Interim Chief Executive today. I will now move to item 11, overview and scrutiny programme and future commissions. Councillor Hudson's update report is outlined from pages 31 of the agenda pack. Councillor Hudson, you will have up to 5 minutes to present your report, with another 5 minutes allocated in total for posing and answering any questions.
Council Chair.
Your 5 minutes start now.
Oh, thank you very much, Chair. Council Chair, Mayor, colleagues, residents. At this last meeting before the May local elections, we reflect on the work of scrutiny in Newham since December 2025, a period defined not just by activity, but by purpose, persistence and progress. Scrutiny at its best is about asking the right questions at the right time, in the right way, so that together we can build a borough that is fairer, stronger and accountable to the people that we serve. And over these past months, it's exactly what we have done. Since December, Overview and Scrutiny Committee met 5 times, delivering a focused, disciplined programme of work to align to our agreed priorities. We have not simply reviewed decisions, we have helped shape them. We examined the impact of scrutiny itself. Step forward. It's a trapdoor. Thank you very much. Right. We examined the impact of scrutiny itself, how recommendations are implemented, how transparency is strengthened, and how learning is embedded. We were clear that scrutiny must not end at the recommendation, it must lead to implementation and real-world change for residents. We endorsed phase 2 of the report for the relationship between Black Boys and the Borough Commission, which speaks directly to inequality, disproportionality, and the lived experience of young black people. And I believe Councillor McCalmont will be coming up to speak about that topic. We have also maintained a firm grip on transformation, ensuring that change within the Council is not only efficient, but understood by residents and rooted in accountability. Colleagues, scrutiny does this through constructive challenge. In January, we called in People-Friendly Streets, LTN decision, at West End Park, raising concerns about consultation, timing and community voice. We referred the decision back for reconsideration. That is scrutiny doing its job, not blocking progress, but strengthening it. We have kept our focus on performance and accountability, reviewing progress against best value notice, scrutinising outcomes on rough sleeping, domestic abuse, contact centres, and insisting on better data, clear reporting and better results. And when it came to the budget, scrutiny rose to the challenge. Through the Budget Scrutiny Commission, Members worked at pace, under pressure, scrutinising the Council's financial position across people, place and resources. We tested assumptions, examined risks and made clear-eyed recommendations. We did so aware of the scale of the challenge, pressures in temporary accommodation, adult social care, children's services and the housing revenue account. We highlighted international volatility as a real risk to financial resilience and pressed for stronger modelling, better integration with housing delivery, adequate reserves, very important, and a sharper focus on outcomes for residents. Across our scrutiny commissions, that same committee became evident. In crime, environment and transport, we examined community safety partnerships, enforcement activity and road safety, pushing for clearer outcomes and stronger data. In education and children's services, we scrutinised safeguarding, SEND provision and opportunities for young people, grounded in real experiences, including visits to schools across the borough. In health, adult and social care, we challenged systems pressures, scrutinised CQC findings and stood firm on decisions affecting local services, making clear that resident impacts must always come first. And in housing and regen, we visited regeneration sites and challenged the CAPSTICS report head-on, calling for stronger governance, clearer accountability and better coordination across the council. If I may offer a local reflection for the present and for the future, in Newham we understand resilience. We see it every day at West Ham United. Thank you very much. A team that doesn't always have it easy, but shows up adept and fights for every result. That is what Scrutiny has done and must continue to do. We must stay disciplined in defence, holding decisions to account. We must be creative in midfield, asking better questions and asking for better solutions. We must always keep our eyes on the goal and delivering for our residents. Because like any strong team, we succeed not as individuals, but together. I'd like to thank members and officers who have contributed to this work. Scrutiny is always vital. It requires diligence, persistence, and courage to ask difficult questions. Those questions matter and they strengthen decisions. They build trust and ensure accountability. Looking ahead, Scrutiny's task is clear. We must deepen engagement with residents.
Councillor Hudson, I must ask you to close.
I might actually say, thank you very much to all those backbenchers who contributed to Scrutiny over the last 4 years and over the last year. I'm particularly thankful for the support I received from members of Scrutiny committees from me as chair. Yeah. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hudson. So there is 5 minutes allocated in total for posing and answering questions. As part of this, I've agreed to invite Councillor Anthony McColman to speak for no more than 3 minutes on the outcome of the Scrutiny Commission on the relationship of Black Boys and the Borough Report. I will bring you in after that. Your 3 minutes begins now, Councillor McColman.
Thank you, Chair, and Councillor Hudson, thank you for allowing me to complete this work that began some years ago. Scrutiny exercise into the relationship between Black Boys and the Borough in Newham was not undertaken because of anecdotes, perception, or isolated concern. It was undertaken because the evidence is clear, consistent, and persistent. It shows that too many Black boys in our borough continue to experience unequal outcome across nearly every major public system that shape life outcomes. This work was done because the data demands attention, because when one group repeatedly appears at the sharpest edge of disadvantage in education, employment, housing, youth justice, and mental health, we have a responsibility not simply to acknowledge, but to act. Let's begin with employment. Across London, young Black men face some of the highest unemployment rates. In 2020, around 33% of unemployment compared with 15% for young white men, more than double. This means Many are entering adulthood already facing structural barriers to independence and stability. In youth justice and disproportionality is even more stark. In Miram, children from black background makes up 45% of the youth justice caseload, yet represent just 23% of the youth population. Reoffending rates are also higher. Local data shows that 79% of children in youth justice are male, and 39% are of black African heritage. This is not a coincidence, it is a pattern. In education, the picture remains deeply concerning. While 56% of the youth or the pupil population achieve grades 9 to 5 in English and maths, this drops around 30% for white and black Caribbean pupils and 37% for Caribbean pupils. At the same time, those pupils are more likely to be excluded from school, removing them from the very environment where their success should be built. We must ask, how can these be overcome? Housing add another layer.
Councillor McColmont, I'll have to stop you there. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Councillor Higgins. We've got 2 minutes for this bit. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Thanks, Chair. The fixed estate charge is not fair. It's a second council tax paid by residents in some residents in the Olympic Park. That's why this council voted unanimously to hold an inquiry into potential replacements for it, including a London-wide precept. This council voted to hold that by the end of this municipal year. This meeting being our last, we know that resolution will not be met. Residents have said that it's not fair. The Labour Mayor of London has said no to changing it, and now the Labour Council has failed to hold an inquiry on changing it. So what should residents do in order to get a change to the fixed estate charge if Labour won't listen?
Thank you, Councillor Higgins. Can I call on the Chair of Overview and Scrutiny? Do you have a question? Yeah, go on.
Thanks, Chair. Councillor Garfield, Chair of Crime, Environment and Transport Committee. We did have this item on the agenda, so I'm informed by my very able Vice Chair who's taken over while I've had a personal situation extremely similar to Councillor McLean's of historic past. But unfortunately, due to a ruling by the monitoring officer and the fact the pre-election period is underway, that meeting's been pulled. Otherwise, the issue would have been discussed. To answer the question, given that the matter falls squarely within the powers of City Hall and not, unfortunately, in this chamber, I would recommend, to answer your question, Councillor Higgins, that yourself and any other councillors before the end of this term, and then whoever's re-elected for next term, use your lobbying power to take that to City Hall and get the Mayor to rethink the decision that he's already said that he apparently has made. If it was one for this chamber, it's perhaps something we could change, but we waste too much time in this authority debating things that we have no power to change. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Garfield. Okay, we're going to now move on to the next item, which is item 12, update from Newham Partners. I can confirm. No, we've missed, the time's over. It was 10 minutes allocated to it, sorry. No, that was it. I can confirm that we have no partner updates for this meeting. I'm going to move to item 13, which is members' questions. This is on your supplementary agenda pack 2. There will be a total of 30 minutes allocated for this. Under Rule 12 of Part 4 of the Constitution, I can inform the Chamber that there are 12 questions received and accepted by the Chief Executive. The questions with the published responses can be seen in the Supplementary Agenda 2, which was published earlier today. So I'm going to start by calling Councillor Nate Higgins to ask your questions, and Could we make sure there's 30 minutes allocated for this one? Thank you.
Thanks, Chair. In 2024, Green councillors and the Stratford Olympic Park Police Ward Panel organised a petition to reopen our local police hub to better integrate police into our community and to improve response times. When I presented this petition to Newham Council, the Labour administration refused to support it, despite residents suffering a significant rise in phone and bike thefts alongside a surge in violent crime. Now, the Mayor of London has announced a plan to open 40 new police hubs across London for exactly these purposes. We contacted the council in January asking for a meeting with them and local police to secure a hub in the Olympic Park, and we were given a response saying that this meeting would happen within weeks. It's now 2 months later, I think a bit even more than that now, and we've had no progress. Will the administration now support opening a hub in the Olympic Park and support a meeting taking place without further delay?
Thank you, Councillor Higgins. I call upon Councillor Verdi to respond.
Chair, I can't hear the answer, I don't know.
Oh, there you go. As you're aware, Councillor, the Council under this administration recognised the importance of visible local policing for our residents in the borough, including and around Stratford Olympic Park. Stratford and the surrounding area are subject to a high level of partner working between the Council, Metropolitan Police, BTP, LLDC and local businesses, including Westfield, reflecting a collective focus on keeping residents and visitors to Newham safe. By way of context, the Mayor of London's Office for Policing and Crime and Metropolitan Police Estate Strategy has set an ambitious plan in place for neighbourhood officers to closer communities they serve, including co-locating with other public services across 40 wards in the first 3 years of their estate strategy. The member will be aware that both myself and the Mayor, Roxana Fies, and officers from the Community Safety Directorate had been engaged with him and other Stratford Olympic Park and Stratford Ward councillors since January, along the resident representative of the local Stratford Olympic Park Ward panel and the Assembly members. An initial meeting was held on the 17th of February to discuss the matter and key considerations to the Met Police. Following the recent meeting, discussions explored the potential opportunities for establishing a police hub in the Queen Elizabeth Park and Stratford area. Under consideration of the Met Police, whether a dedicated police hub could be delivered in the Stratford Olympic Park and Stratford area, and they've been advised they already meet the 20-minute neighbourhood requirement that underpins their neighbourhood hub model and strategies. The dedicated ward police officers must be located within a 20-minute walk of their wards they serve. As officers already meet the proximity standard, those existing deployment locations, a new hub is not required to achieve the operational intent of the model. However, give me a out of breath. However, they have identified 3 other wards within Newham which do meet the operational intent of the neighbourhood hub model and determine that they are a priority location for any new hub in the borough. Additionally, there's no additional funding for these hubs outside of the priority areas, so any additional hubs will have to be fully funded by external provider. The Met Police have been very clear that they would not open any staff or public front cows as part of the proposal, and this would not be aligned with the neighbourhood model. Just to conclude, because I know there's quite a bit, once the assessment is concluded, another meeting will be organised to update relevant parties and officers from Newham Council will be involved.
Thank you. Councillor Higgins, do you have a supplementary question?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Chair. Thanks for letting me know that a meeting has taken place. I don't think either myself or the police ward panel who suggested this were invited to that meeting, which is disappointing. My question was whether the administration would support opening a hub, given that in the past they've said that they don't support that, and that question wasn't answered in the response. But my supplementary question is, given that the response says that they believe a hub isn't required for the Olympic Park, what will be done to address the issue with phone theft, violent crime, bike theft, mail theft in the Olympic Park, given that you're so sure a hub isn't required?
Councillor, I'll make this very clear, and from the emails which are very transparent, it was made clear to you that the first initial meeting that will happen with the police will be under the jurisdiction of them as the lead authority in this borough in terms of any hub requirement. There's specification around what hubs are required for, and information will be passed over to you once that initial meeting was taken place. The information around that from the Met Police and their guidance has come through, and that information will be shared with you in due course. As the lead authority as Newham, and in my respective role, the Met Police have the jurisdiction to make the decision on a hub. It's very clear in the answer I've given to you that a hub is not required. However, in my respective role, there have been multiple operations that have taken place across Stratford Olympic Park. You failed to even give any clear facts. There's actually significant information and data that shows the support around faux thefts across London, the proactive work around deployment, proactive work from community safety and partners. I can share the information with you, but don't come to a meeting without facts and evidence, because I know the relevant results in Stratford Olympic Park.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Virdi, for your response. Can I now call on Councillor Arik Chaudhry to ask your question? Okay, shh. Councillor Keeling, please. Okay, Councillor Virdi, please. Councillor Chaudhry, please.
The UK government has recently announced plans to make refugee status temporary. This will leave refugees in a state of constant uncertainty and give them nowhere to call home. The policy fundamentally changes the nature of refugee status in the UK and renders the concept of sanctuary meaningless, as sanctuary will now be subject to continuous review and political manoeuvring. People with refugee status are fleeing grave danger, and we should be welcoming of them. As a proud borough of sanctuary, will Newham Council commit to writing to the Home Secretary to actively and robustly oppose these proposals? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Chaudhry. Can I call on Councillor Chadha?
Thank you, Councillor Chowdhury, for your question. And I'm grateful to Green colleagues who supported our motion before Christmas around reiterating our support for Borough Sanctuary. The full council agreed in December 2025, and when we set out our position, we are a proud Borough of Sanctuary, and we're not moving away from that. We believe in safe and legal routes for those fleeing persecution. We call on the UK government to ensure that all immigration policies continue to uphold human rights and international obligations. Proposals that render refugee status temporary, subject to continuous review and political manoeuvring, run counter to these principles. We are very clear on that. And the December motion provided us with a framework through which we were making that case and continue to make that case. The political advocacy actions agreed in December, including correspondence with MPs representing Newham constituencies, members of the House of Lords, London councils and the Local Government Association, are being developed in active coordination with our Borough Sanctuary members. And the reason why we're doing that is that includes people with lived experience. We are committed to ensuring those communications reflect the voices and experience of the communities most affected, so that they carry weight and credibility they deserve. And indeed, after the December motion, we did have a Borough Sanctuary meeting where we discussed what next steps we wanted to take. On the specific question of earned settlement that you raised, directly relevant to the government's proposal to make refugee status temporary, the government consultation, which opened on the 20th of November and closed on 12th of February, attracted, it is reported to be one of the largest consultation responses in recent memory, a sign of how deeply and widely these proposals have struck at people's lives and sense of security. Newham Council submitted a formal response, and I responded personally as an individual, because this is not merely a matter of policy, but of principle and of people. We are now awaiting the outcome of that consultation with guidance and legislation before determining exactly when and to whom to lobby for maximum effect. That is a deliberate and strategic choice. Effective advocacy requires us to understand the government's positioning. We are, after all, a campaigning council. Identify the points of greatest leverage and act in a way that is most likely to produce real change for the people affected. Last Thursday, in the presence of the Deputy Mayor of London, we came together to explore what more can be done to support Newham's work and asylum seekers, migrants and refugees. What made that meeting exceptional was not only the seniority of those present, but the fact that people with direct lived experience of seeking sanctuary were at the table, sharing their stories, their challenges and their hopes. It was a powerful and grounding reminder of what it is at stake when policy decisions are made about refugee status, and a testament to what Newham means as a place of welcome. The passion and dedication of the council teams working in this space was evident to all present. The December motion remains a framework for all our advocacy on this issue. We will pursue every strand of the programme with urgency and with the strategic intelligence that gives our voice the best chance of being heard where it matters most.
Thank you, Councillor Chattha. Councillor Chaudhary, do you have a supplementary question? No. Okay, thank you very much for that. We will move to question 3, which is Councillor Steve Brayshaw.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Steve Brayshaw, Royal Victoria Ward. Council, with more hire bikes coming onto our borough, how is the Council working to make sure that residents feel their benefits without them cluttering up our pavements?
Thank you. I think Councillor Morris is responding to this.
Thank you, Chair. Answering this question on behalf of the Cabinet Member, Councillor Sarah Ruiz. Thank you for your question, Councillor Brayshaw. Following Cabinet approval in 2025, officers have engaged with all private app-based cycle hire operators to pursue a formalising operations in the borough and have accessed funding from Transport for London in the 26-27 LIP for the design, consultation and implementation of dedicated cycle hire bays on carriageways. Once implemented, operators will be restricted to distributing cycles into these on carriageway bays, and users will be restricted to hiring and parking them in or face penalties. This is intended to have a dual purpose of both enabling residents to reliably access the cycles from consistent fixed locations and prevent obstructions of the footway. Officers also continue to engage with Transport for London on the new powers for the London-wide regulation as contained within the English Devolution and Employment Bill. That should further help realise the benefits for residents that want to use these services while minimising the potential harm for others.
Thank you very much. Do you have a supplementary?
Yes, thank you, Chair. We understand that there's going to be likely some micro-mobility contracts placed. Can you tell us or provide details who would be the likely operators of a micro-mobility contract?
Thank you, Councillor Brayshaw. It will be Bolt, Forest, Lime and Voy.
Okay, thank you very much. We will move to question 4. Councillor Caroline Adaja. Yes.
Councillor Caroline Oladapo, thank you. Some of my residents have raised concern about phone theft near DLR stations. How is the council working with our partners to address this concerning report?
Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you very much. Councillor Verdi.
Yes, yeah. This probably answers the previous question that was asked. We take the issue of phone thefts really seriously, including those around the DLR stations and other transport hubs. These are busy locations. That's why the council works closely with the Met Police, BTP and other transport partners to monitor crime. Although current analysis show the DLR stations in the unit are not among those with boroughs with main robbery hotspots, with high level of theft and robbery occurring in some of the borough's busiest high streets, recent figures show that further context between March 25 and February 26, there were 66 offences near DLR stations, compared to 1,1200 crimes involving the taking of phones across the borough, represents only a 5.9% of all reported offences. While this indicates that the DLR-related crime is a smaller proportion of overall incidents, we fully recognise our transport hubs and stations can be opportunistic for offenders, which is why enforcement and prevention is key around stations and our surrounding areas. The Mayor of London outlined a major crackdown on mobile theft with a new mobile phone theft command cell and £4.5 million of investment, with a record investment from City Hall. New figures show from the Met that there are 10,000 fewer mobile thefts in the last year. Through our new integrated community enforcement, we coordinate intelligence between council enforcement teams, CCTV, BTP, and others in this joined-up approach. This includes targeted patrols in high-footfall areas, including key stations and nearby stations, where we know offenders may operate. Our officers are working with local businesses and partners to ensure that there's CCTV and monitoring of all locations where crime is quite common. Alongside enforcement, we run community engagement through parks, high streets, and with our universities and institutes to ensure that people are doing their best to keep their belongings safe and deliver targeted days of action. We're also encouraging residents to obviously attend, like the council mentioned before, their ward panel meetings and hold the police to account for doing all their duties to ensure that theft, robbery and theft from person are influenced as neighbourhood priorities. We've also, to mention, is Neighbourhood Watch is a key element for residents to get involved in, and I've also highlighted the crime prevention stalls within your respective ward, and just highlight the joint work that we're doing within not just your ward, but across the borough. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Verdi. Councillor Ladopo, do you have a supplementary?
I was going to before, but with the response is fine. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. I next have Councillor Rachel Tripp.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Rachel Tripp of Forestgate North Ward. Secure cycle storage remains a primary barrier to cycling for residents, especially those in high-density housing. Can the Council please provide the exact number of residential cycle hangers installed since 2022? Furthermore, what is the current size of the waiting list for hanger spaces? And how does the Council plan to reduce the waiting times?
Thank you. Councillor Morris again. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. There are a total of 356 residential cycle hangers in Newham, offering 2,136 spaces, of which 202, or 1,212 spaces, have been installed since May 2022. There is a current waiting list for existing cycle hanger spaces of 1,159, corresponding to approximately 193 hangers. We will continue to apply to Transport for London for funding for further installation, including both the dedicated cycle parking programme, within more discretionary funding from the Safer Corridors and Neighbourhoods funding, with a total of 161,000 awarded across these programmes for 26-27. There was a supplementary question there. Would you mind repeating that for me?
Okay, can you ask your supplementary?
Do you mean, do I have a supplementary question, or do you mean the bit on the end of the question I've already submitted?
I don't know. Do you have a supplementary, Ray?
I mean, I do.
Okay, go for it.
The end of my question was about what the Council plans to do to reduce current waiting times, but perhaps Councillor Morris addressed that with the answer about funding. I was wondering, of the installations he described, how many had been installed in Forestgate North? And I also wondered whether there were any plans to install hangars that would allow residents to store cargo bikes.
Thank you, Councillor Tripp. There are currently 28 cycle hangars offering 168 spaces installed in Forestgate since 2022. In terms of cargo bikes, we're having conversations about adapting or installing cycle hangers for mobility scooters. While we haven't considered cargo bikes in our plans, there's no reason why we can't.
Thank you very much. Can I call on Councillor John Gray to ask your question?
Thank you, Chair. Councillor John Gray, West Ham Ward. And my question is, London is in the grip of a housing crisis. As demand outstrips supply and demand on temporary accommodation continues to grow. How is the Council tackling this in West Ham Ward?
Thank you. Councillor Verdi.
Thank you, Councillor Gray, for a really important question. London is facing a significant housing crisis with demand far exceeding supply and increasing numbers of households in temporary accommodation. In West Ham, the Council is addressing these pressures through a combination of increasing housing supply, improving prevention services and supporting residents at the risk of homelessness. Firstly, the Council is working to increase the number of genuinely affordable homes available locally. Through its housing delivery programs, a partnership with housing associations and developers, NUM is prioritising new social and affordable housing developments across the borough, including and around West Ham. This includes making use of council-owned land where possible and ensuring that new developments deliver homes that residents can access. Newham plays a major role as an enabler of housing growth, leveraging significant brownfield land to secure affordable homes and wider social value. Around 27,000 homes currently have planning permission, including major projects like Silvertown, West Ham, Trees and Royal Rocks. As one of the leading councils in the UK for new home starts, in West Ham, the Strategic Partnership and the 12 Trees Park Development, led by Berkeley Homes, has phase 1 completed with 110 affordable homes, 45 affordable rent and 65 shared ownership. Future phases coming forward in 2030 and beyond would deliver over 4,700 new homes. Around 1,650 of these will be affordable, and the scheme will be roughly 34 to 40% affordable overall, and with the new pedestrian bridge reconnecting West Ham. In West Ham, this complements the development at Manor Road, Leather Gardens, Arthurton Street and John Street. Manor Road has delivered 8 three-bedroom shared ownership houses through proprietary living. The following sites are 100% affordable, delivered on council land and as part of Affordable Homes for Newham programme. Leather Gardens has delivered 21 homes, 8 of which will be 3-bed families and passive house standards. Arvingworth Street is the refurbishment of 16 homes, and John Street has delivered 17 homes, including 20 family homes, 3-bed, again passive house standards certified, with a new landscape area and significant tree planting. Further development in the council's homing programme includes, and in honour of Neil Wilson House in the adjacent Plaistow ward, which delivers 28 affordable homes this month, and William Patton Gardens and Freemason Road, which delivered 95 affordable homes. As Newham continues to increase the supply of higher quality affordable housing across the borough, this is a vital step in tackling the housing and temporary accommodation in Newham. The council is strengthening its homeless prevention work to help support residents of Newham. Reshaping our services has been pivotal in ensuring that we support our residents in the first instance. Connecting our services and connecting our directorates ensures that we are doing our utmost best to help residents in TA. Also under this Labour administration and under this government, you see the introduction of the Renters' Right Act and how this is going to protect our residents from temporary accommodation. And under this administration, using innovation to help support our residents before the act of temporary accommodation is really important. And without further ado, I want to make it very clear, and I've mentioned this in all the previous councils, those that are on the waiting list recognising their needs, it's important that we ensure that we are very transparent and give them the opportunity to thrive in Newham, but also the offer to where there's options to relocate out of the borough, we're also supporting that. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Do you have any supplementary, John?
Yes, I do, Chair. Yeah, no, thank you for a very comprehensive response. And I'm really pleased when I go out with colleagues campaigning in West Ham Ward that we have all these new developments, and also the reaction I get from tenants doing casework is the support by the council has improved. But my actual question is you're aware that my background is a tenancy specialist for a large housing association, and without talking down the sector, which we always need to be conscious of, there are independent reports suggesting that up to 5% of social tenancies in London are actually occupied by people who have no right to be tenants in those properties. And obviously, if we were to get 5%, not only of the council stock, but that's in our gift, but also with housing associations.
Could I ask you to make a question, please?
Yeah, what can be done to try to get people who don't have any rights to a home so we can give these homes to our homeless? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Really important question. I think one of the key things under this local authority and the direction done by predecessors before me is identifying all the people that have that need, whether it's in the housing register and those in temporary accommodation. The case reviews that are taking place now are going to help to support to ensure that we have the right people that need homes in this borough. So that work is already underway. So really good question, and thank you for it.
Thank you very much. Can I call upon Councillor Melanie Onovo to ask your question?
Thank you, Chair. I've enjoyed going around Maryland and seeing the new caddies and the food waste bins in the rollout for the new statutory obligations that the council has for food waste collection. I've also enjoyed seeing the quite robust bins outside of Henniker Point, for instance, because as a member of Crime, Environment and Transport Committee, I'd like to thank Josh for chairing and for Terry for also joining and vice chairing Crime, Environment and Transport Committee. But one of our concerns were whether, for instance, there would be some fouling by animals and pests, etc., of the bins, but it was good to see that, the design was good for preventing that. But it seems that even though the bin stores seem to be working well there, people are having issues with uptake. I'm getting there right now. With the uptake of bin stores, of using the bin stores for food recycling, it seems that not many people are taking part. So I wonder what the council are doing to force that behavioural change so that more people take part in the food waste collection regime. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Onovo. And I'm calling on Councillor Whitworth to respond to this.
Thank you for your question, Councillor Onovo. Yes, the new bins for food waste are in evidence, and we are assured that they cannot be opened by foxes or any other clever animals because of the design, so that they will not come open when they're knocked or dropped. The waste prevention. I'll give you the answer that we have, that I have here now. The waste prevention team at the London Borough of Newham delivers a wide range of programmes aimed at reducing waste, increasing reuse, and improving recycling across the borough. Through behaviour change initiatives, community engagement, and awareness raising, the team supports residents, schools, landlords, and local organisations in adopting more sustainable everyday practices. Activities are promoted through workshops, events, digital communication, co-produced materials, and planned in-person engagement, such as door knocking and surveys. Key work streams include food waste prevention through skills building workshops and resident-led workshops, promoting reusable nappies and period products, the rollout of the borough's new food waste recycling service, with communication shaped by resident feedback and supported by ongoing evaluation. Composting is encouraged through free online training, seasonal campaigns, subsidised compost bins, and the development of community composting schemes for residential blocks, high-rises, allotments, and community centres. The team also works with ELWA to strengthen reuse, to promote furniture reuse in line with circular economy goals. A new lending hub model is being developed to reduce the purchase of infrequently used household. I'll read that sentence again. A new lending hub model is being developed to reduce the purchase of infrequently used household items run locally. Further initiatives include raising awareness of proper disposal of batteries and electrical items to increase recycling, expanding access to repair opportunities through repair cafes and workshops, and tackling textile waste via school engagement, clothes swap events, and partnership with trade for doorstep collections. Finally, the team supports community-led litter picking activities, working with residents, schools, and libraries to improve local environments and promote responsible waste behaviour.
Thank you very much. Do you have a supplementary?
I do have a supplementary. Just quickly, like I said, I was really happy to see the food waste bins outside Henniker Point, but it seems the caddies, for some residents, has been a bit of concern with rodents and other pests getting access, the smaller caddies. So I wondered if there was any mitigation that the council had for houses that only had the smaller bins and not the larger caddies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor, what's your point of order? Ask your point of order.
Is it fair? It's 30 minutes gone,
Yeah.
and the leader of the opposition had no right to ask that
Okay,
question
no,
in the
but the
chamber,
Constitution
and it's
does
been
not-
wasted.
Okay.
And you're deliberately doing it. You're deliberately doing it, prolonging these questions. This is
Councillor
wrong,
Mirza,
and you're leaving the legacy.
Councillor Mirza, could you please have a look at the Constitution? There is 30 minutes allocated for this item, and that is what is happening. Okay. Do you have, well, actually, there's no time. I'm sorry, your supplementary cannot be answered.
Sorry, just to clarify that there was no intentional lengthening of my question or anyone's questions.
Yes.
So I don't appreciate that from the opposition leader. I think we should all have a bit more camaraderie spirit with our colleagues. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Honover. And I'm sorry, Councillor Whitworth, you won't get to answer that supplementary.
And I was
but
not
you
dragging out
you
the
could
reading
respond to her by
deliberately.
email.
Right,
Thank you very much. The rest of the questions, which is by Councillor Zubair Ghulam Hussain, Councillor Muhammad Nazrul Islam, Councillor Mahmood Mirza, Councillor Sophia Naqvi, and Councillor Simon Rush are as tabled. It's been published, right? The responses? Okay. Thank you. I am going to now move to item 14, which is the Commission for Inclusion and Belonging in Multi-Ethnic Newham. Final report. This report is outlined from pages 71 on the agenda, and I'm going to call on Mayor Fias to move the report. Mayor, you have 5 minutes for this. That's all right. Yeah, okay, all right. We'll give you a minute. Oh, item 14. Okay, I see. Okay. Okay. Should we take it as tabled? Okay, fine. Okay, thank you.
Evening, colleagues, again. Colleagues, the report before you is the final report of the Independent Commission on Inclusion and Belonging. And for those that were at the annual council meeting way back in May 2022, I announced that I was going to be launching an independent commission on inclusion and belonging, or rather, at the time, it was the future of inclusive Newham and belonging. And I did so because the world really right now needs to be told a story. And that story that needs to be told is a story that happens as if it was magic every single day in this borough, in every single corner. And that story is about how people come together and remain connected, how in spite of the forces in politics, locally, regionally, nationally, internationally, attempting to tear communities apart, there's something quite simply beautiful happening here, and that's people and connection. And this report, under the expert leadership of Sundar Katwala, supported by British Future, started a really important journey of conversation and inquiry, listening to over 500 residents, understanding what the heartbeat of our borough is about. As mentioned, we're living in really turbulent and uncertain times. We have been for a long while. Globally and nationally, and I've said also locally, we're seeing the rise of quite dehumanising politics and rhetoric and a cultural war designed to polarise people. For instance, the far right seeks to weaponise our differences, suggesting that diversity leads to fragmentation. And that's why this report is a record of how every single day we prove them wrong. The Commission's findings aren't just a report. They really are a blueprint for ongoing, important, vital action. And they are also a report for optimism. In a borough where over 220 languages are spoken, diversity really is our lived reality. Councillor Charlie McLean talked about how in this conclusion of the month of Ramadan in our parks across the borough, people were able to freely pray in our green spaces. And this is against the backdrop of an assault being made against our Muslim Mayor of London in a country where immigrants are being used as the reason why people's lives are the way they are. And I think what's really important through this report is it records that whilst the national narrative suggests tension, our residents overwhelmingly see our difference as a source of collective strength and quite literally a normal that's valued and valued every single day. So, colleagues, as you go through the report, and I very much urge you all to, don't just leave it left on a shelf or bookmark it on your laptop. Please do read the really important recommendations, because what the Commission found was a catalyst for change, but also blueprint for the rest of the country. The need for us to deepen pride and really kind of drive further expectations around how our communities can get on together. But they also understand that getting along isn't enough. Our people want a genuine stake in our future of this borough, and making sure that we protect and preserve that all-important community infrastructure like our libraries, our places of worship, our youth centres and our high streets that are vibrant places, the social clue that make belonging tangible. And we really must protect these neutral spaces.
Yes, I must ask you.
So on that note, I commend this report to colleagues to please digest and endorse emphatically. Thank you.
Do I have a seconder for this report? Councillor Ali, do you want to speak? Do you want to speak? No? Okay. Okay, we now move to the debate. This report is for noting. Does any member wish to speak on this report? No? Okay. In that case, I'm going to ask the Council to note the report and consider its findings and recommendations when developing future strategy and policy, and to invite partner organizations to consider them in their own planning. Can we move to the vote? Are we all happy to know this report? Thank you. Any negatives, any abstentions? No, it's all good. Okay, I'm going to now move to item 15, which is the building of a fair and Newham 2022-2026 progress and achievements. This report is outlined from page 147 on the agenda, and I call on Mayor Fiaz again to present this report. And Mayor Fiaz, you will have 5 minutes to speak.
Thank you very much, Chair. Colleagues, do you know what? I'm really proud of what this Labour administration has achieved over the past 4 years. In fact, I'm really, really proud about what we've advanced and delivered for the people of this borough over the last 8 years. And the reason why is because in the first 4 years of me being the mayor, who would have thought that we would be dealing with a significant global pandemic of an unknown virus that completely turbocharged our panic in the face of something that we didn't know, but also presented us with amongst the most turbulent times, but also turbocharged our resolve to save and help our people. So during that period where we laid the foundations, building on the people at the heart of everything that we do, since 2022, we've accelerated our mission to build a fairer Newham. And we did that because of what was surfaced during COVID-19, the deep inequalities that were exposed in real visceral ways. And building a fairer Newham wasn't just a slogan. It isn't a slogan. It's a commitment to a borough where every single resident, regardless of their background, can live a life defined by dignity, fairness, and boundless opportunity. It's also a vision and a blueprint that's guided by values. We launched it in 2022 because we made a solemn promise. Recovery from the pandemic would not be returned to business as usual, the normal. That wasn't good for our residents. Instead, we chose a purposeful change. We chose a path guided by our values, relentlessly focused on tackling the structural inequalities that have held too many back and have driven entrenched, deep inequalities. And this report sets out how that vision has become a reality on our streets, in our homes, and across our neighbourhoods, touching every single section of our community. Newham is the most youngest, most vibrantly diverse borough in the country. Our youth are our greatest strength. They're the energy and the talent that will shape the future of this place. And we know that with that potential comes a huge responsibility. You will have heard earlier about what we've done, and no doubt there will be further contributions around the changes and the impact that we've made through our children and young people services to children and young people in this borough. We've also talked about earlier on another matter, the fairer local economy through the Newham Growth Plan. And over the last 4 years, in addition to the £1.2 billion of investment for digital infrastructure that's going to create jobs of the here and the now, but also the future, and as well as training 2,500 women and girls included in our AI and data work, we've actually supported thousands of people into jobs, and we've routed thousands more into training and skills acquisition. Did you know that we've witnessed a 26% increase in local jobs since 2018? That is something to be proud of, but we've got to scratch the surface, because we also know that we have communities that are still held back because of poverty. And in this age where the challenges of international global conflict have a real impact on our day-to-day household budgets, and we bear witness to what's happening again in the Middle East, we know that that's going to have an impact on the cost of living. And we've got to be prepared. But what we have done through building a fairer Newham, we've embedded really solid foundations, and we have made progress. So I want to conclude by commending this report, but also just really end with letting people know this. We really have ushered in a different era in this borough, where we've amplified the importance of health and well-being, and also people participation.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for this report? Councillor Miraj Patel? Oh, no, sorry. This has been a very long meeting. Councillor Verdi, you're seconding it? Okay, you have 3 minutes to speak. Do you want to, oh, okay. What's happening?
Who is seconding and
Who is officially seconding it? Councillor Miraj Patel is officially seconding it. You have up to 3 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. It is with great honour and pride to second this particular item, and it's with great honour and pride to stand here and present an array of achievements, particularly with my within my executive responsibility in public realm. And there's been many achievements obtained by this Labour administration from east to west, north to south of this borough. This administration has delivered across parks, green spaces, waste, recycling, street scene and the wider public realm. First and foremost, the Greenway Pollinator Trail. The Greenway Pollinator Trail features over 6 kilometres of wildflower verges designed to improve the natural environment and biodiversity across the Greenway and beyond. Secondly, the allotment policy. As many people know, there's over 4,000 residents on the allotment register. As Councillor Whitworth mentioned earlier, we opened the 9th allotment site in Newham very recently to accommodate and to serve residents that have been long waiting on that register. Beckton Parks and the master plan. Newham Cabinet Council approved the Beckton Parks master plan in January 2024 as one of the most ambitious urban green space projects in London. The Beckton Park master plan is a vision to create a gold standard green space that will benefit everyone living and working in Beckton and Custom House wards and in Newham as a whole. There's been many achievements within this particular plan that have been delivered by this Labour administration. Beckton Meadows created with a 0.9 hectares of new wildflower meadows with 30 trees planted with significant community involvement and in particular Ellen Wilkinson Primary School. The meadows includes play features, benches, butterfly gardens and habitat banks and interpretation boards. There is much more within this and 3 minutes won't really justify it, so I'll try to breeze through in 50 seconds some of the other achievements. Transformation of Little Ilford Park, Forest Lane Restoration Park, which we've had a second tranche of funding, which is very rare, almost £1 million there. Other parks, projects of note, Warrior Square, Priory Park, which provides much SEND facilities for our SEND children, increased tennis provision, 25 seconds, I think I can get through a bit more. Recycling and waste, a new ELWA contract, which provides best value for our residents. What else do we have? Street scene, there's been a drastic improvement in that. B-bin ready day and weekly recycling collections have seen great benefits to our residents. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Patel. We now move to the debate. This report is for noting. Does any member wish to speak? I've got Councillor Keeling first, then I've got Councillor Mirza, then I've got Councillor Blossom, and then we'll take... Okay, let's just start. And Councillor Morris and Councillor Verdi. Okay, Councillor Morris, Councillor Verdi, Councillor Ali. I think I also had Councillor Naqvi that side. Okay, right. Sorry, where is... yeah, Councillor Keeling.
Hello, Council. Mayor, colleagues, this report is called Achievements to be Proud of. And let me be clear, it's absolutely right that we recognise achievements. But if we're going to do that, we must also be honest about the reality residents are facing. Because without that balance, this stops being a report and starts becoming spin. And that matters. Because when a council paints an overly positive picture, when it downplays failure and dresses up decline, that matters to residents. Because people rely on us to tell the truth about their lives. Let's look at what this report says and what it clearly doesn't say clearly enough. It talks about a fairer Newham. But their own figures show Newham is now the most deprived borough in London. Economic activity has fallen sharply. Youth unemployment is rising. That's not fairness improving. That's hardship deepening. On housing, this report talks about delivery and regeneration. But it glosses over the most serious fact. The council's housing service was given a C4 rating, the lowest possible judgment. This means failures in safety and quality. Residents living with damp or unsafe homes don't experience this as progress. And when that reality is softened in this report, that is misleading. On finances, the tone here is reassuring, but the reality is very different. This council now has just over £2 billion worth of debt, making it the worst indebted local authority in London. And we are paying tens of millions of pounds every single month just to service that debt. That is money not going to housing repairs, youth services, or support for families. And in 2025, the government issued Newham with a best value notice. That is clear warning about governance and financial management of this Labour Council, a Labour Council that's always been a Labour Council, whether it's been a Tory government in administration or a Labour government in administration. It's always the legacy of this Labour Council. Residents deserve to see what is spelt out plainly, not buried. 58% of residents are worrying about crime, domestic abuse is rising, people don't feel safe, and this is why honesty matters.
Thank you very much, Councillor
Thank
Keeling.
you.
I call on Councillor Mirza. Councillor Mirza.
Thank you, Chair. Fairer Newham, let alone, I can't say that you can run the fair council meeting, I'm afraid.
Well, I'm sorry.
Sorry, it's my time I can speak. So I'm talking about the Fairer Newham. You mentioned resident and press is watching now. You silence the voice of opposition. You are not given the chance to speak and ask the question within the time. This is the first time ever in the 4 years of council history the Labour councillors have asked so many questions. That never ever happened before. This meeting is planned, is trying to stop the silence the meeting. And I'm coming back to the fairer Newham. Yes, this meeting is been planned and stopped the members of the public coming in. Labour activist is being planted to sit and occupy and capture the seats, so no ordinary member of the public can come. How you can justify the fairer Newham and fairer council meetings, Chair?
Can I stay to the report, please, Councillor Mirza?
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. My colleague already mentioned about C4 rating, best value notice, council tax increased. It's almost nearly £2,000 residents are paying. Residents were paying about £1,200 or £1,100 in 2018. A significant increase. How is fair to the resident? How is fair to the resident? Council rents has been increased. How is it fairer to the businesses? Council rate has been increased. How is it fair to the residents living in the council properties under damp and unsafe environment? Chair, I thought you were going to leave the legacy tonight by chairing a fair meeting and giving a fair opportunity to every councillor, but you failed to do that. And I would say you failed your chair, your mayor have done the same. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Mirza. Before I bring in the other speakers, I think it's right for me to say that I have followed the Constitution to the T, and I have asked and taken advice from the monitoring officer, who I think is quite legally equipped to give me advice on what to do. And I think I have done that, and I actually disagree with it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that, Council. Councillor Young, next.
Councillor Blossom-Young, Beckton Ward and Cabinet Lead for Council Housing Improvements. Can I just pick up on comments that colleagues have just made, and in particular the references to the C4 judgment, which I spoke about earlier, and the downplaying of that in the report. So I'm going to quote directly from it. So the C4 regulatory judgment for Newham Council's housing services in 2024 underscored failures in safety, quality and compliance. A major housing improvement programme is now underway for our council homes. I'm not sure quite how that phrasing is underplaying or not being transparent or not being accountable to our residents. But look, I wanted to take a moment to recognise the work of my colleagues in this area and why their work on delivering a place vision for Newham matters for every single resident in this borough. So when we talk about Newham as a place, we're talking about one of the most dynamic, diverse and determined communities in the country. A borough that faces real hardship, rising costs, housing pressures, inequality, and yet this administration has met those challenges with ambition and with purpose. We're delivering affordable homes. Through our partnership with the GLA and with Populo Living, we've started over 1,300 genuinely affordable homes right across the borough. And residents at Carpenter's Estate, Custom House and Canning Town have voted for regeneration. Votes of confidence in a future that will deliver around 5,000 homes, with 50% of those genuinely affordable. That's not a statistic, that is families with security, stability, and a place to call home. But the growth of this borough is inclusive. Over 2,500 residents have gained skills in data, AI, digital technology, and we've attracted £1.2 billion of investment. So through programmes like our Newham, we're making sure that local people, not just developers, are the beneficiaries of that growth. And our neighbourhoods matter. Fly tipping's been cut by over 70% in hotspot areas. Newham has risen from 13th to 8th on the Healthy Streets scorecard. 43% of our schools now have healthy school streets. So these are neighbourhoods that residents can take pride in. And we've committed 51 million to active travel, expanding safe cycling routes, cleaner streets, and a refreshed air quality action plan through to 2030. So this administration should be proud of what it's delivered, not empty promises, results. I'm proud to support this record, and prouder still to represent a Newham that is building a better future for all its residents.
Thank you very much. I've got Councillor Morris next. Yes, you're going to be after this.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to speak in support of this report and the work that this administration has done over the last 4 years, but specifically around your neighbourhood. Your neighbourhood speaks to me because it makes me proud to live in Newham, the work that we have done to make it a wonderful place to live and work, to raise a family. In September 2025, I joined a landmark moment where we attended the opening of the Royal Docks Corridor. For me, the Royal Docks Corridor is a perfect example of what Newham can achieve. It's 6 kilometres of cycle lanes, rain gardens, trees, an enhanced public realm, all of which enables people to live more healthy and above all, a more active life, as well as preparing Newham for a changing climate and enabling more sustainable transport modes. In fact, we delivered Royal Docks Corridor £5 million under budget, which enabled us to expand it into a tidal basin dock. Our work isn't just on the main roads, it is also in our neighbourhoods. We now have 49 healthy school streets, covering 67 schools. In these areas, traffic volumes are down by an average of 64%, in some spots 80%, enabling safer roads. This success is the reason why Newham was named the most improved London borough in the 2025 Healthy Streets scorecard. a coalition of organisations that include the London Cycling Campaign, Mums for Lunds, Living Streets, pedestrian charities, cycling charities. We also implemented our goal of West Ham low traffic neighbourhood, which after extensive trial and rigorous data collection, we made permanent. By removing through traffic, we are reclaiming residential streets for the people who live there. To further enhance the safety of our most vulnerable residents, we successfully expanded our borough-wide 20-mile-per-hour speed limit. Lowering the limits on our residential roads isn't just about slowing speed, it's about saving lives. We also improved connectivity. A good example of this is the Marshgate Lane link, connecting Puddinmill Lane with Queen Elizabeth Park. We're also future-proofing Newham for a greener era. To support the transition to electric vehicles, we have accelerated the rollout of over 1,000 EV charging points. Looking ahead, we are launching a new tender for car clubs and micro-mobility. This is about a genuine choice about affordable e-bikes and cargo bikes and shared vehicles that integrate our transport.
I must ask you to stop. Thank you.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you very much. Councillor Naqvi.
Councillor Sophia Naqvi, Plaza North Ward. Mayor Fiaz, you speak of building a fairer Newham. As this is likely to be your final meeting as a Mayor of Newham, residents will naturally reflect on the record of your administration. During that time, the borough has seen the repeated council tax increases, a C4 judgment from the social housing regulator, significant spending on projects many residents struggle to see the value of, and regeneration schemes that seem to specialise in running over budget. We have also seen a confidential investigation into your conduct, a payment to yourself from the public purse that only later came to light. Streets many residents say are dirtier than before when you first took office, and the rather extraordinary step of a best value notice being issued to your administration over governance concerns. I'm sorry, the report you are coming out with contradicts what is happening in reality. Given all of that, could you help councillors and residents understand what you consider the greatest achievement of your Building a Fairer Newham programme and what legacy you believe your administration will ultimately leave for Newham?
Thank you very much, Councillor Naqvi. Can I ask Councillor Virdi? How many more want to speak on this? Because I just want to have a right of reply and then move. Oh my God. 1, 2, 3. You've already spoken, Miraj. Sorry? Miraj is seconded. Yeah, sorry, go on.
Can I go? Thank you, Chair and Council.
But there is no time on these.
I'm pleased
the reports. Go on. I'll take your point of order.
Chair, I'd like to propose a point of order to move this business to a vote. We've already heard many members speak, and this is our last council meeting. There's still quite a bit of business in the meeting. I think it's right that we move this to a vote and get on with the rest of this meeting.
Okay, thank you very much. Do you have a seconder for that? Okay, Councillor Keeling. So basically, the proposal on the floor is that we move straight to vote. Those in favour, could you put your hands up? Those against? Any abstentions? Fine. Sorry about that. Councillor Virdi.
Thank you, Chair. I'm pleased to commend this report, and I'm pleased to commend the progress that we have made under the corporate plan of a safer Newham. It was rightly mentioned that the challenge of creating a safer Newham is really pertinent to our residents, but I wanted to highlight some of the key things that have been enabled to ensure that we've got a safer Newham. Some of the key things have been the visible community safety patrols, days of action, and our weapons sweeps across the borough, and our educational workshops to help support our young people across Newham. We have seen 489 weapons that have been removed from our streets for our knife amnesty bins, and thanking Public Health to have endorsed this. Across 2025, we have seen more than 2,700 young people that took part in 91 workshops aimed at prevention of violence and exploitation. These are not just statistics, but have a true reflection of how we're trying to safeguard our young people and audiences. I would also like to make clear around the clear evidence where we have seen a reduction in antisocial behaviour of over 30% and at the same time seen a reduction in hate crime. We've also seen our additional ASB officers working to extended hours to have a more presence and intelligence-led approach, delivering a nice model that continues to shape our council and the service for our residents. It's also important to highlight some of the volunteer work that's been delivered by our partners with on the ground and the work that's actually been delivered by the Neighbourhood Watch Scheme and one of our audience members, Zakia Adam, that has led the forefront to enable 100 schemes and 90 coordinators in the likes of Newham, empowering residents to come forward to ensure that they're playing an active role in preventing crime and building community cohesion. I also wanted to mention the message around business support. I was proud to announce the launch of the Safer Business Network in East Ham, which was helping local businesses tackling crime and antisocial behaviour in some of our business areas. I also mentioned earlier on around the 2 cabinet reports around the £2 million investment and the expansion of public space protection orders. Across the manifesto and this corporate plan, we have delivered 12 commitments under this Labour administration. We've also supported the Violence Against Women Safety Charter and endorsed the work that's taken place with the VRU. I want to pay thanks to also our partners, the Metropolitan Police, the London Fire Brigade, our licensing committee once again, and all those that have worked to help shape our gambling policy and community licensing policy. And these are strengthening our approaches to ensure that we create a safer Newham. Also, some of the innovation work that's been worked in collaboration with the likes of University of East London and the Met Police around our policing academic work around neurodivergency and those that suffer from those type of SEN needs. And also fundamentally the London Fire Brigade around the autism initiative. I want to finally conclude by also mentioning some of the government's work which I've been leading at the forefront and working with the Government Safer Streets programme, which includes the work that we're doing to tackle the likes of creating a safe Newham, and also some of the youth safety summits, community safety summits and resilience summits across the borough. And all these are contributing under this Labour administration to make Newham safe. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Verdi. Can I please make a suggestion? We've got 4 more speakers. If you could keep your speeches short. Councillor Ali. Short. What's your point of order? Is it the same as Councillor Keeling?
Thank you, Chair. And
Sorry, 1 second.
Sorry, point of order, Chair. Can I request to extend the standing order for 30 minutes, please?
Okay, no, this has been put from the floor. Do you have a seconder? Okay, I will take Councillor Naqvi. So it's been put to the floor whether to extend standing order for another half an hour. Those in favour, please put your hand up. Those against? Any abstentions? No. Okay, can we please keep it short, please? Okay. Councillor Ali.
thank you, Chair. And can I say that this is an important moment to reflect on what we have delivered for our residents through our Building Fairer Newham program. And despite significant challenges, Chair, through pandemic to cost of living crisis, and despite the opposition colleagues' negative assertions, this administration has remained focused on fairness, opportunities, and long-term investment in the borough. The report in front of us, as the Mayor said, please read this, and those who are listening at home, please do read it. It tells you precisely what the achievement are. Don't just listen to few individuals who are simply picking up on the negative aspect. But, I've already spoken about the financial aspects of the council, which you heard me already saying that, but there is more to it. The biggest investment that we have is in housing. Yes, we have largest debt, but that is as a result of a conscious decision to invest in housing so that we can tackle the homelessness and reduce the cost of temporary accommodation. So it is not borrowing for the sake of the borrowing, it is because we need that money. Our community wealth building, the Mayor's commitment to the community wealth building has led to more jobs, more economic regeneration in the borough, more support for local residents. Those are the key things that we're making improvements on and delivering for the people of our borough. You already heard my colleague Sarah Ruiz saying how wonderful it is to get the excellent result in CQC under her leadership. And that's a remarkable achievement from that point of view. So the Mayor's commitment I've already mentioned in terms of that. Neighbourhoods, you heard John Whitwell saying that the investment we're making in street cleansing, the food waste, the parks. Councillor Miraj Patel has already highlighted those. I'm rushing it. And then you heard Councillor Rita Chadha already talking about transformation. Transformation isn't about ICT. It's about improving services, reducing costs, improving performance, and actually getting things right the first time. So those are the issues that we're tackling. That's what we're doing. And Mayor said quite rightly that this is not a slogan, it's a vision, it's a delivery, and the proof is in that report, Chair. And I really think that we ought to be grateful to what we've done so far. I think it's a point of reflection. We have delivered fair renewal, but I must say, there is a lot more to be done, and we will continue to do so. But finally, Chair, despite oppositions, colleagues, assertions, as I said, it's been an honor to serve the people of Newham. Together, we have built a fairer Newham, stronger Newham, and that is a legacy that we can all be proud of.
Thank you very much, Councillor Ali. Councillor Whitworth, very quickly, please. Because the council has not given permission to extend the meeting, we will start at 9:30. So can I please...
I'll be brief then, Chair.
Thank you.
This council, with Mayor Roxana Fiaz, has embodied vision and displayed consistent dedication in the pursuit of building a fairer Newham. It is essential that progressive, transformative policies be maintained. The people of Newham need them. We've made great progress in the past 8 years, though not all of our aspirations have been fully realised because of the nature of our economic system and, until recently, the lack of funding for our policies. We've challenged these constraints with a degree of success, however, and the Labour government has recently recognised past government neglect, notably with its fair funding and Pride in Place awards. Lobbying must, of course, continue. I'm very proud of the achievements of the Climate Action Team and their Just Transition Plan, which I've got no time to talk about, unfortunately. I've mentioned the Air Quality Action Plan, which is a very important piece of work. And I would like to say that our refreshed local plan has set out conditions ensuring that all new buildings should be constructed with low levels of embodied carbon and be net zero carbon in operation, which means that they should be able to be easily modified or deconstructed with minimum waste according to circular economic principles. In the past 3 years, refuse bin collection, street cleansing and fly tip removal have significantly improved, and the Let's Love Newham campaign has been introduced to promote a change in behaviour in order to reduce littering, fly tipping and contaminated waste. Finally, I would say the Council has laid foundations for and has been working towards a future Newham, which is greener, cleaner, healthier, less unequal, and in which people have a greater ability to shape their lives. I wish the future Council every success in continuing to pursue these goals.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Councillor Ruiz, can you keep it very, very, very short? When does the clock start? The clock just stops at 9:30 and we just move straight to votes. Yes, go on.
Okay, thank you very much, Chair. As Cabinet Lead for Children's Services, I think we have achieved so much. Obviously, outstanding children's services. This has been achieved over the past 8 years, incrementally, service by service area. We have moved out of having a written statement of action for our SEND service, thank you Joshua, for delivering a fairer service. As you should all be aware, we are all corporate parents, and I'm so proud that this council recognises care leavers as a protected characteristic. I'm also delighted that for the last 2 years, young people have co-chaired the Corporate Parenting Board, setting the agenda and leading the discussions. We are delighted that we continue to offer Eat for Free, the first council to do so, and although the Mayor of London funds free school meals, this doesn't cover the full cost, but we continue to see this as vital for our children's well-being. I am proud to have chaired the Custom House Regeneration Steering Group for 7 years. After being promised over 20 years ago, this administration made a huge decision to regenerate an area of Custom House This was co-produced and co-designed with residents. It has taken 7 years, but this year we saw the first residents move into William Peyton House. Flats that are really well designed, well finished, and so much better than their existing homes. This administration also promised that children and young people would be at the heart of everything we do. And I was thrilled to see our old Shipman Youth Centre, which was well past its sell-by date 20 years ago. We opened the Shipman Youth Zone to the envy of all the other youth zones. This is a magnificent building, and we are proud to have it in Custom House. For many years, the Will Thorne Pavilion has laid empty on the basis of a spurious rumour that it had asbestos. No, it didn't. This administration secured a record amount of Levelling Up Fund, and we are using some of that to refurbish this amazing facility. It will become a well-needed community facility as a part of the new Beckton Park. We also have a brand new wheeled sports facility opening later this year in King George V Park. This, together with the Green Skills Agenda, will see the old Newham City Farm revitalised, providing skills which could lead to employment. We can be justly proud of our achievements, delivered in often difficult times, building a firm foundation for those who take up the challenge in future.
Thank you very much, Councillor Ruiz. Mayor Fiaz, you have the right of reply, and you have less than 3 minutes, because I might have to...
Thank you very much, which I will boldly take. Colleagues, thank you for your varied contributions. I just want to provide some of those member colleagues that are trying to suggest, infer, or are quite explicit in terms of the really serious charge of misleading. Can I just point you to the Appendix 2 that's accompanying this report, which sets out transparently the performance indicators across every single one of the performance metrics that's linked to the corporate plan, that reflects a Building a Fairer manifesto, that gets published every quarter, comes to Cabinet, that is subject to scrutiny by overview and scrutiny, and that's been the case for the last 4 years. Can I also bring your attention to the fact that it was this administration, in the face of a debt burden carried by this council, that took on the banks, and we saved Newham Council the £142 million in interest payments over a 40-year period. That's saving monies to our frontline services. And that is a demonstration of a values-led Labour administration. And to my female colleague, I'm going to say this to you. My proudest achievements are many. But I know this: women of colour in public life face a unique double burden of race and sex discrimination. We're often subject to a level of scrutiny and thuggery that our peers are not. When I challenged the treatment that I received at a meeting in 2022, I wasn't just fighting a political spat. I was challenging a culture that thinks it can harass and victimise female leaders without any consequence. If I, with the platform of the mayoralty, did not stand up, what hope is there for the junior staff member or the resident who face similar harassment in the workplace?
I'm going to have to stop you now.
So standing for justice is an act of leadership, not a conflict of interest.
Thank you very much, Mayor Fiaz. I've taken advice from the monitoring officer, so we are going to be moving to vote on everything as is. So first of all, item 15, which is what we've been discussing, which is a report for noting. Do we agree to note this report? If you do, please put your hand. Okay. Anyone disagreeing, put your hands up. Have you noted that? Any abstentions? No. Thank you very much. Item 15A, which is attendance at meetings authority to exempt. I'm going to be moving this report. Can I have a seconder? Councillor Imam Haq. We move to the vote on this. All those in favour, please raise your hands. It is...
It's set out.
It is set out.
Set out in the report.
I have taken advice from the monitoring officer, and I've been told that as soon as 9:30 the guillotine starts, we just finish and just vote on everything. That's right. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Do you want to move on? Okay. Are we agreed on 15A? All those in favor? Anyone against? It is an exempted item. It is an exempt. It is in the report. The name is in the report, but it is an.
Well, it's been circulated.
It is published. It has been published and circulated.
It's in the report.
It is circulated and in the report.
Chair, if I may,
Yeah.
it's in the public domain. This is relating to Councillor Dina Hussain.
Councillor Dina Hussain. Okay. Any abstentions? Okay, this is carried. Item 16, end of year summary reports. As chair, again, I move the end of year summary reports. Do I have a seconder, please? Councillor Imam Haq. Thank you very much. This is just for noting. Item 17, member statements. Unfortunately, we won't be able to go through this. So apologies to Councillor Rachel Tripp and Councillor Alan Griffiths. Item 18, motions. Motion 1. Okay, this is Councillor Higgins's motion. All those in favor of this motion, please raise your hands. This is Councillor Higgins's motion, motion 1. All those in favor, please put your hands up. Thank you very much. All those against? Any abstentions? Okay, the motion has not been carried. Okay, motion 2, this is Councillor Mahmood Mirza's motion. All those in favor? Okay, thank you. All those against? Any abstentions? Okay, that motion has also not been carried. Item 19, which is conclusion of business. Thank you very much. I just wanted to make one announcement that due to the celebration of Eid in late May, I've agreed in consultation with the Chief Executive that our next meeting for the Annual Council will be held on 20th of May 2026. Members and officers, you could please gather in Wilthorne Room downstairs for a post-council reception. Thank you, everyone, and I now declare this meeting closed. Thank you very much.
Maybe not the easiest, but it was fun.